There is one verse every Protestant memorizes before they debate a Catholic on purgatory. One verse they believe ends the conversation permanently. Luke chapter 23, verse 43. Today you will be with me in paradise. The good thief on the cross. Most people believe Jesus promised this criminal immediate entry into heaven, skipping purgatory entirely. But here's what they never tell you. The word paradise in first century Jewish theology did not mean heaven. It meant something else entirely. And when you understand what Jesus was actually saying in his own Jewish context, the Protestant argument doesn't just weaken, it backfires, because the very verse they use to destroy purgatory actually confirms that an intermediate state between death and heaven exists. That is exactly what the Catholic Church has always taught. Today, I'm going to walk you through the original Greek, the Jewish theology Jesus was speaking within, and the one question Protestants cannot answer. Let me set the stage. Every year, thousands of Catholics find themselves in conversations where someone says, if the thief on the cross went straight to paradise without purgatory, why do Catholics believe in it? It sounds devastating. A man who lived his whole life as a criminal confesses Christ at the last possible second, and Jesus himself guarantees him paradise. No baptism, no sacraments, no time for purification, case closed, right? Not even close. The real question is not whether the thief was saved. Catholics agree he was. The question is what paradise means, and the answer to that question changes everything, because paradise in the mouth of a first century Jew did not mean the beatific vision of God. It meant the Hebrew concept of Sheol, specifically the pleasant compartment of the abode of the dead, where righteous souls waited for the Messiah's final redemption. If you're interested in deepening your faith, hit like and tell me where you're watching from. Consider subscribing to stay rooted in Catholic truth. Support our videos, team, and tools, link in description, or scan the QR code on screen. But where does this teaching actually come from? Let's go to the text. In Luke chapter 16, verses 19 through 31, Jesus tells the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. When the poor man Lazarus dies, he goes to Abraham's bosom. When the rich man dies, he goes to Hades in torment. Between them is a great chasm. Now here is the critical point. Abraham's bosom is the same place as paradise. Both terms refer to the pleasant compartment of Sheol, the Hebrew abode of the dead. This is not heaven, it is a place of comfort within Sheol, separated from the wicked by a chasm. Jesus uses the exact same theological geography when he speaks to the good thief. Today you will be with me in paradise, meaning, today you will be with me in Abraham's bosom, the resting place of the righteous dead. Now here is where it gets devastating for the Protestant position. Turn to John chapter 20, verse 17. After his resurrection, 3 days after Good Friday, Jesus says to Mary Magdalene, "Do not cling to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father." Read that again. Jesus says he has not yet ascended to the Father after his resurrection. If Jesus went to heaven on Good Friday with the good thief, this statement is a flat contradiction. He did not go to heaven, he went to the realm of the righteous dead. St. John Chrysostom, writing in the 4th century, confirms this in his homilies on Luke. He teaches that paradise refers to the abode of righteous souls, not the direct vision of God. The Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 631 through 637, teaches that Christ descended to the dead, that he went to the abode of the just who had died before him. This is what the Apostles' Creed confesses every Sunday. He descended into hell, not Gehenna, the place of eternal punishment. He descended into Sheol, the realm of the dead, to preach to the spirits there, as 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 18 through 20 confirms. So where does this leave us practically? So what does this mean practically for you today? It means the entire Sheol theology confirms an intermediate state between death and the full vision of God. And this is precisely what purgatory is. The Catechism, paragraph 1030, defines purgatory as the state of those who die in God's grace and friendship, but still imperfectly purified. They are saved, their salvation is guaranteed. But they are not yet ready for the direct presence of God, just as the righteous dead in Abraham's bosom were saved, but not yet in heaven. Now let me address a misconception many people carry. Many believe purgatory means Catholics think they can earn their way to heaven, that grace is not enough. But actually, purgatory is an extension of grace, not a denial of it. It is God's love completing the work of sanctification in souls he has already saved. Think of it this way. Imagine you are very dirty from playing outside and your father says you're coming home for dinner. That means you are definitely coming home. He is not leaving you outside, but when you arrive, he washes your hands before you sit at his table because his table is perfectly clean. That is purgatory. God says you are coming home, and then he lovingly cleans you for the feast. This ancient understanding is not a medieval invention. The Jewish Talmud itself, in Tractate Rosh Hashanah, describes three classes of the dead: the holy righteous who go directly to Gan Eden, the holy wicked who go to Gehinnom, and the intermediate group who, and I quote, descend to Gehinnom, cry out, and then ascend. That intermediate purification, described by Jewish rabbis centuries before the Catholic Church formally defined the doctrine, is purgatory. But the good thief didn't do anything, he just believed. That proves grace alone is enough without any purification. I want to be fair to this objection because it is sincere. And the answer is, Catholics agree that the thief was saved by grace. We completely agree. But here is what gets overlooked. The thief did more than most people realize. He publicly confessed Christ's innocence. He rebuked the other criminal. He professed faith in Jesus' kingship. And he suffered tremendously on the cross alongside the Lord. Saint Ambrose of Milan teaches that the thief's suffering on the cross itself may have served as his purification, a kind of baptism of blood and desire. His circumstances were utterly unique, receiving absolution directly from Christ himself while dying beside him. Pointing to one exceptional case and claiming it disproves purgatory is like pointing to a presidential pardon and claiming prisons do not exist. The pardon proves the governor's mercy. It does not prove there is no justice system. Furthermore, the Jewish tradition offers a parallel that is deeply relevant. The mourner's Kaddish prayer is recited for 11 months after a loved one's death. Why 11 months? Because Jewish tradition holds that the maximum purification in Gehinnom lasts 12 months. And it would be disrespectful to imply your parent needed the full sentence. Jews to this day pray for their dead, a practice that only makes sense if the dead can be helped. Catholics inherited this practice from Judaism and formalized it in the Requiem Mass and All Souls' Day. So where does this leave us? It leaves us here. The verse Protestants use to destroy purgatory actually confirms it. Paradise was not heaven, it was the Jewish intermediate state for the righteous dead. Jesus himself confirmed he did not ascend to the Father until after the resurrection, and the earliest Christians inheriting Jewish practice prayed for the dead from the very beginning because they knew the dead could be helped. So here is what you can do. First, pray for your deceased loved ones. It matters. Second, read 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 11 through 15, where St. Paul teaches that some will be saved, but only as through fire. Third, attend a Requiem Mass or offer your next communion for a soul in purgatory. You have the power to help them. If this helped you, share it with a friend, subscribe, and check out our web app for daily Catholic resources and soul search. The verse they use against purgatory is the very verse that proves the dead are not yet home, but they are on their way.